Hey, here to interrupt the upload schedule because I am still uploading things from 2025. I am running a little bit behind, but I figured the end of the year occurred and we are pretty close to the end of this month. So before the month ends for January 2026, I figured I'd talk about some of the things that I learned in 2025 that I'm going to carry on in 2026 moving forward. Why? Because consistency is key, and that is sort of one of the first things that I learned in 2025 is that consistency really is key. 2025 has been the year that I have been the most consistent when it came to YouTube and any social media in general, ever since I geared away from sort of a personal account to more of a branded, like a self-branded account. I've been the most consistent of 2025. I started YouTube back in 2007, and although this channel is not the original 2007 channel that I made that time, I have more than doubled my follower count, being that I started in 2024. So I think I started with about 30 followers, 20 followers, and fast forward to today, I am sitting at 115. So I have really been consistent, well, at least as consistent as I can. I've tried to put out as much content as I can. Stuff that's not slop, something that's meaningful to me, that tells a story, that gives a message. And that's really all I can say, is just to remain consistent. And even when there were times where I felt like what I was doing wasn't amounting to anything, or wasn't moving towards anything, or the gears weren't moving, it really turned out that it was, and it was helping. But it wasn't until like I sat down and looked at the statistics and like the accumulation of like my videos that I was like, oh, hey, like this was growth. It was a small growth, but it grew nonetheless. So remaining consistent has been one of the things that I'm going to continue moving forward. It's not always fun. It's tough to remain consistent, especially when life is throwing stuff at you all the time, but remain consistent. The second thing that I learned was that gear doesn't matter. And I know that can be a very polarizing thing to say, because I feel like that splits people down the middle. You got your one half saying it really does matter, and then your other half saying it doesn't matter. Those saying that it matters blame those that say that it doesn't matter, that they're only saying that because they got the latest and greatest, or they got an Ari and they have all like the good stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I'm here to say that it doesn't matter, especially if you're in the same position that I'm at, where you're only uploading to like YouTube and Instagram. Gear definitely does matter, especially if you're like in a high production shoot. It definitely matters. There are things that you definitely need, and you know, you got to look at those specs when that time comes. But if you're just a small time creator like me, uploading to YouTube and Instagram, where most people are going to be seeing stuff on their phones, you really do not need that full frame camera. You don't need open gate. You don't need all that fancy schmancy stuff. It's good to future-proof things, but you know, when you're a total beginner, and you know, this could be rage bait, I'm not sure, but I've seen so many posts on Reddit recently where total beginners just have no idea what any settings do on their camera. You know, they pick up an FX6, an FX3. They're picking up some like $10,000 camera that they do not know how to operate. They don't know why their picture looks the way that it does. And it's just like, what? Like, I mean, if you're barely starting out, you should probably start with an entry-level camera first. And then from there, once you learn the specs, once you learn the settings and the functionality, then you should upgrade to something once you know what you want. I've been using Super 35 sensors forever. The only full frame camera that I own is the Leica SL1, which I only have because I traded my EOS R for that camera. Otherwise, I would have sold that camera and been rid of it long ago. So only reason I have a full frame is because I simply traded an EOS R for it. Every other camera that I have in my arsenal is Super 35 or, you know, a cropped CMOS, whatever sensor. It's not full frame, and it gives me good image. It tells my stories perfectly fine, and old film back then used to use small sensors, so you really don't need it. I guess if you want to use the handicap of like being able to correct in post, then, you know, are you really learning the skills necessary to expose an image properly? The skills, you need to build up the skills to then be able to be like, okay, well, I know how it works now, so I could shoot raw and then give myself more leeway, I guess, in post or headache, depending on how you see it, to edit these large raw files versus you just kind of punching it in straight, you know, straight from the get-go in camera. That's just me though. And the third thing that I learned, that sort of piggybacks off that last point is practice, practice, practice. Practice makes almost perfect, but practice also keeps your skills sharp. I mean, what else can I say? Starting from October of last year, I picked up a new camera. I wanted an RF system. I had no more RF bodies, and the only thing I had left was RF lenses. I didn't want to buy a super expensive RF camera, and the R50V head came out, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's a $600 camera. I already have the lenses for it. Why don't I just buy that? It's a crop sensor. It's nothing special, but it has what I need because it's a modern camera. But anyways, that's beside the point. I used this thing and I just made all kinds of spec projects. Went out of my way to go to all sorts of events. I shot, experimented. I tried different lighting. I've even used them for a few talking head videos, and this is probably like the 16th, 17th, 20th different angle that you've seen of this office, but I'm constantly experimenting, testing out lighting techniques, using different lenses, using different camera systems. I'm just always experimenting and doing as many spec projects as I can so that I can practice, learn, and experiment, because when the day comes to shoot something, you better know what you're doing, because that is not the day that you need to be experimenting with anything. You need to go in with a plan and then execute it properly. But yeah, practicing to keep your skills sharp. As I mentioned, I've been swapping cameras out for these talking head portions so many times just so that I could keep sharp with all the menu settings across all the different systems, so that if I'm ever given a Canon, a Sony, a Blackmagic, they just throw it in my hand and say, yo, go do something, go use this. I know how to use it. Yeah, just practice, keep practicing, practice new shots, practice lighting, practice your microphone. I mean, this is the second time that I record this video. Why? Because somehow, somewhere in the process, I jacked up my audio and it was overblown. So I'm hoping that it's not the same for this. Fingers crossed. The fourth thing that I learned was to use tools, but specifically use AI. AI is not your enemy. It can be your enemy, but it's not an enemy. You think of it as a tool. When it came to my spec projects, my short films, I used it as a tool to refine my scripts, to fix weird verbiage. It really helps to sort of use that as a tool to pick its brain, have it pick your brain, and use it sort of like a, almost like one of those grammar plugins where it reads over your sentence and it says, you know, you could make this better. Use it to make your writing better, to make your scenes better. It's a tool. Use as many tools as possible. And that is one of those tools that I think everyone is fighting against because they think it's gonna come for their job, for their art, for their whatever. But AI will never fully replace art. And that is a fact. Watch in like 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, like it does. And then, you know, there's this video to play back and they're gonna just laugh at me, but yeah, whatever. The fifth thing that I would say I learned was to step out of your comfort zone. It is not fun, but it's necessary. There's been so many times where I've been to events that before I even got to the event, I was thinking, I don't even wanna go. This is like not my jam. Like I'll feel like I don't belong here, or I'll stick out like a sore thumb. And I don't know, I get a little bit nervous or like embarrassed to go around with a camera and just record people just without saying anything, just be like, oh, like, hey, you know, I'm just recording you. But a lot of those times, especially the times where I felt like I didn't want to go, or I told myself I wasn't gonna go, but I said, no, you know what? Just because you feel like that, you better go out now to that event. Turned out to be really good. I got to meet lots of cool people, ended up tagging people that ran those events, and they all loved the videos that I made for them. And it really helped out. It's like a twofer, you know, get content, you get practice. It's a threefer. And then you sort of build a confidence that otherwise you wouldn't have if you didn't go out there and like talk to people or just go out and put yourself out in general. Obviously don't, like if you feel like this thing is gonna be dangerous and your gut feeling is telling you don't go because you might die or something, probably don't go. If it's like an introverted thing and you're kind of scared because it's a public thing and, oh, well, I'm not really an extrovert and blah, 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 go, just go. Like you'll benefit from it. Which brings me to the sixth thing that I learned. And I think you could even bundle it with the fifth thing that I talked about, but it's a network. Go and network with people, talk to other creative minded people, other creatives, other creators. Pick their brain, help them out if you can. Maybe they can help you out. Everyone's got a skill that you can sort of help each other out with. Maybe you know audio better and you can go and help this person with audio, or maybe you know how to light something, subjects, and you can go help this person with their photography, their videography, etc. Build that connection. Build those network of people that you can utilize and they can utilize you. It really goes a long way. So when I was in college, I was going to college for art. This is before like I switched majors, but one of the things that one of my teachers had said, especially in the art world, was, you know, you could be the worst painter in the world, but as long as you make connections, like that's what's gonna move you up the ladder. She said 90% of art is like speaking, talking to people, and that's really what it boiled down to, is the people that you know and etc. So I'm assuming it works the same way out here in any field. Obviously be genuine, don't go and like abuse people and use them, but create a network, offer your services, they'll offer your services with you, and sort of just make like a tight-knit connection of people. Build around that. Just go out there, get out of your comfort zone, talk to people. So yeah, that's all the things that I learned in 2025, and I'm sure that's a really boring list of things, probably things that your favorite YouTuber has said millions of times, or every other YouTuber in the world has said. Coming from someone who's not a professional, who's kind of getting into this and trying to get their foot in the door, sort of testing the waters out, you know, dipping the toe in the pool, I can say that these have all been things that have helped me grow my channels, although not exponentially, not greatly. There has been some growth, and I think it's because I have sort of forced myself to do all these things, do my research, do my homework, write, get out of my comfort zone, network, everything. Be consistent, because you could have all the gear in the world, but if you're not utilizing it, if you're not doing anything with it, if you're just sitting at home waiting for likes and clients to come in, you know, it's never gonna happen. If you feel like you wanna quit, if you feel like it's not going anywhere, if you feel like you're wasting your time, you are not. Just keep at it and don't stop. Keep going at it. Keep pushing through, just be consistent and be resilient. All right, well, with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you again on the next one.